Hey boys and girls, I am going to be showing you how to use a ruler to measure different lengths. And so you will need to go grab a ruler, pause the video if you don't have one yet. And I'm going to show you a couple of different types. Now in third grade, when we are measuring, we only measure to the nearest quarter of an inch. Okay, so 1/4 is the same thing as 1/4. Now most rulers have more fractions marked on them than just fourths. So I will show you how to find the fourths when you're using your ruler. Also, let's review. 4/4 equals 1/2. So if we were to count by fourths, we would start with 0, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 4/4. Okay, so 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4. Hopefully you remember that from Module 5 a little earlier. So let's start with 0 and let's count up. Let's count to 3, counting by 1/4. Can you say it with me? 0, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1, 1 and 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2, 2 and 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4, 3. Okay, so knowing how to count by fourths is really going to help you when you go to measure. Now, grab a ruler from home, ask your parents, okay? I grabbed an old one because I'm going to be writing on this, so I think it'll be easier for you too if you can write on it, but ask first, okay? If it's not something that you can write on, then definitely don't, but this one's really old, so I'm just going to use this as an example. So let me show you really quickly how to find the different fourths on this ruler. Okay, so on this one, I have 0, which starts right over here, the very first tick mark. And also make sure you're on the side that says inches. Most rulers will have centimeters on the other side, so make sure that you've got inches facing up. Okay, so when we divide something into fourths, we are splitting it into 4 equal pieces. And your ruler has already done this for you, but you can see there's a lot more little bitty pieces in there that you will not need in third grade. So first thing I want you to do is look for the half. That tick mark is a little bit longer. You can see it right there. Okay, so I might just label that 1/2. Now I have half and half, 2 parts to equal 1 whole inch. If I cut that half in half, I will be right about here and right about here. Okay, so now we've got 1/4 and 3/4. Remember, 1/4, 2/4. 2/4 is the same thing as a half. 3/4, 1 whole. Okay, so then the same thing repeats itself. We've got, you can split it up in half. It's a good starting point. Cut that in half, and you've got a 1/4 and a 1/3, or 3/4, sorry. Okay, so when I'm measuring something, couple of things to keep in mind. You've got to start at the 0. Okay, see how I'm lining this paper up with the 0 inch, not the edge of my ruler. That's going to make a difference. As you can see, if I line it up with the edge of my ruler, it comes out this far. But if I line it up with the 0, it actually comes out a little farther, and that would be the more accurate measurement. Okay, so very important to make sure that you are lining it up with the 0. And then we're going to see how far out it goes. So if I wanted to measure how far it was to this point on my paper, I would line it up with the 0. Notice my tick marks. It's past the 1, but it's not quite to the 2. So it matches up to the 3/4. But you can't forget that you've already gone an inch. So this is 1 inch and 3/4 more. So we would say that is 1 3/4 or 3/4 inches. Okay, so next let's practice measuring these pencil lengths from your Google Classroom. If you can print it out, this is going to be a lot easier. If not, just follow along and try to do the best you can. So first thing I'm going to do when I measure number 1 is start with the 0, line it up. Remember, it doesn't start exactly at the edge of my ruler. Yours might, some of them do. Okay, now I can see that it's gone past the 1, but not quite to the 2. We're looking for the nearest quarter of an inch. Okay, so you do have to estimate a little bit. Is it closer to 1 3/4 or closer to the 2? I'm going to say it's closer to the 1 3/4. So for number 1, I'm going to say that this is 1 inch and 3/4 inch. Now let's look at number 2. Same thing, line it up with the 0. Now this one goes out past 3. So I haven't split my ruler up that far yet. Let's look. So here, halfway between 3 and 4 is 3 1/2. If I split those guys in half, here are my quarters. See how I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces in between there? That's why they're fourths. So here I have 3 and just about 1/4. So I'm just going to write that off to the side. I'm going to do 2 more with you, and then I'd like you to finish up on your own. So line it up with the 0. This one looks to be in between 3 and 1/4 and 3 1/2. I think it's a little closer to the half. So I'm going to call this guy 3 1/2 inches. Don't forget your unit. Now number 4 looks very similar. They look about the same. Let's measure it just to make sure. Line it up with the 0. Notice how far out the line goes. Past the 2, past the 3, 3 1/4, 3 1/2. It looks like it's close to 3 1/2 as well. So I'm just going to write 3 1/2 inch for this line too. Now, if you have not completed the problem set yet, I'd like you to pause the video and go ahead and measure the rest, numbers 5 through 12. And when you are finished with that, you can unpause and I'll go over the answers and we can check and see if you are correct. Okay, welcome back. Let's look at your answers. So we did 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. So let's see how you did on the rest. Number 5, you should have gotten 1 3/4 of an inch. Number 6 was 2 inches. 7 is 2 1/2 inches. 8 is 3 3/4 of an inch. Number 9, I got 2 inches. Number 10 was 3 inches. Number 11 is 3 1/4 of an inch. 12 is 2 1/4 of an inch. So how did we do? Hopefully you got them all correct, or at least pretty close. If you did not and you need some help, please make sure to send your teacher a message and we'll be glad to help you out, okay? Great job, boys and girls.